get your seats. If you're not in a live tournament still going on, we'll ask that you hold your bags. 3 minutes, we're going to get started here.
To get us here, and it's got to feel like almost a celebration of all this hard work and great cornhole.
Exactly, and it all comes together here tonight at the semifinals of the WCO World Cup. And what kind of semifinals? We have the 4 best countries in the world playing each other here in the semifinals. It's going to be amazing, and we'll see who takes home that big trophy, the WCO World Cup.
Yeah, you said it best. Not all the times do you get the 4 best teams being the 4 left at the end, but that's what we get here as we look at our bracket. Head-to-head, up first would be the United States of America, the heavy favorites to take down this ACL Europe Open. They will take down or take on a German team who's got a lot of great playmakers, right? On the other end, Canada and France. Canada going to be viewed as the 2nd highest seed here. Canada with a lot of great players, including 2 ACL pros on the team trying to hold down the fort, but they're going to go against a French team. Headlines by Mathieu Rivaud and Bruno Bocquier that honestly have had some great success on this broadcast court and looking to lead the French team to a big upset victory.
How good would it be if we have one of the European teams reaching the final? I'm really looking forward to that second matchup between Canada and France. It's going to be the game of the year, I think.
Yes, I could not agree more that it's and Germany. And in this first matchup, we are going to have our first singles match. So let's briefly go over format for this WCO World Cup. To start everything, we are going to have each of these different matches be a best of 3 game series. It'll feature 2 individual singles matches followed by a doubles match as well. In this first singles matchup between the USA and Germany, we will have Frank Modlin, Captain America, the winningest player in USA cornhole history, taking on Felix von Roeder from Germany. And really, this is going to be a fun one. I had a chance to talk with Felix a little bit throughout this weekend. He's a very big avid fan of the ACL, was very excited to see some of these top players coming across the pond here to Germany, to Paris to compete against the Germans. And I think this is going to be a great battle here, Tone.
These bags are live.
And with many of these players, Trey, also the same thing is for Felix. He's only been playing for maybe about a year and a half.
And I had a chance to talk with him.
Vineyard.
And he
true.
said, I spend most of the day in the vineyards, as meanwhile he's got a chance for points out
Airmail.
of the gate, and he went for an airmail. I like the aggression, trying to steal some points from Frank Maudlin early. But Felix said, I work in a vineyard, and because I'm there all the time, I spend most of my time truly listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And he said, one of the ones I listen to, I love listening to Around the ACL. He said, Trey, I need a shout out on Around the ACL. I told him, well, if you make it here on the broadcast court, give us something to talk about. And out of the gate, he's trying to give us something to talk about there with that airmail attempt there.
Love the aggression.
Yeah, the aggressive style. And that's going to be the theme, I think, for these Europeans as they battle some of these top-notch Americans, even top-notch Canadians, is going to have to play aggressive, going to have to play consistent, but they're going to get and try to steal a couple of victories.
Right? I mean, if you're Germany, you're not expected to win. So you might as well just go out and play loose and go for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what will happen.
Yeah. Von Ruder there goes for a big push, not able to hit it. And you can see the bag there. Beautiful slow-mo shot there. Tries to push them all. Unfortunately, they just bunch, and Maudlin's bag falls. So Felix von Ruder from Germany throwing those green bags. He is throwing the Lucky Bags Pro Snipers. Frank Maudlin on the other end, of course, creator of the Game Changer, throwing the Game Changer Evolutions. I believe he's throwing
Nice collect.
the 3.0s.
The 3.0s.
If I remember talking to him correctly, but von Ruder with a big push there to limit the damage. Yeah, so it was very much almost a FIFA World Cup type of style drawing that we saw. We had all of the countries drawn into two different groups. They had group play where they played every other team within their groups. They all played 6 games yesterday. The top 4 teams from each of the two groups advanced to the final bracket play. We had the quarterfinals a little bit earlier, and now 2 semifinals followed by the ultimate final.
Yeah, we had 14 countries participate in the World Cup event. We have 17 countries represented this weekend here at the ACL
we
Europe
have
Open.
a,
Correct.
quote, rest of the world. Right? There were a couple countries that couldn't field a full team to come out and compete here, so we did have a rest of the world country. But like you said, that was it was 17 countries is certainly a huge milestone, Tone, and I think you guys got to be proud of what this has been this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't in Rotterdam last year in your home country, but from what I understand, it's been immense growth from last year compared to this year.
Absolutely. We have 3 or 4 times as many players here this weekend. And you got to think about it. There are a lot of countries here that have to drive or that actually drove 15, 16, 17, I've heard 18 hours to get here to this event. The dedication is unbelievable from these different countries to play here.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see the progression and the development there. That's a 12-10 round there. Frank Maudlin going to steal a couple more, but more and more of these countries becoming passionate fans of the sport, developing the player bases. And Germany in particular is one that I heard they have at the competitive level over 450 players that are competing on a regular basis.
It's crazy, and it's growing so fast. They have a really good structure. They have a good team that's developing corner within their country, and they're all good friends. And the whole ecosystem is there to grow the sport very fast.
Beautiful bunch up there, pushes them closer there for Felix. Maudlin deciding to lay up here, and it just cuts on him a little bit. Von Ruder goes through it. Maudlin board for Von Ruder.
Yes, it goes.
And the Germans like that one, as Von Ruder is on the board.
The current senior world champion, Frank Maudlin. As you said before, the most decorated player in USA cornhole history.
He is the most decorated. They call him Captain America for a reason, by how much he competes and wins in these USA-specific events as well as these international events. And this is, I do find it interesting. I had a chance to talk a little bit, and Tone, you mentioned this as well. Renee Schindler, who we're going to see in a minute, he said, my idol is Frank Modlin.
Oh, yeah.
I see the way he plays. He's an ambassador for people in the game, and I really appreciate the dedication that he puts forth. And it's really important to us to see him. He said, I really hope I get to play against Frank Modlin on the big stage. So
almost.
And he did.
Almost.
No,
right?
but he did in the rounders play.
Yes.
In the round robin,
play,
he got
to play against
got to
Frank
play
Modlin, and that was a special moment for Schindler.
Yeah. Well, the whole weekend's been special for Rene because he has been performing very well, and we will see him after this match.
Frank Modlin puts that bag off to the right-hand side, and Felix von Ruder getting a little bit of momentum here. Might be an opportunity to get a couple more points. A beautiful block just sitting in the front, in the center. Set up well for von Ruder. Frank Modlin going to take a timeout. He's going to go look and see exactly what he wants to do. Attempt here, just how successful is the shot. Modlin is up and he is deep.
Back.
Going to be 3 more points for Felix von Ruder.
No round limitations today, so still everything to play for Felix.
Absolutely, plenty of time to get back into this one, not facing a clock. Von Ruder is in front of the hole again. Modlin taking a step out. Gonna try to attack that left side of the hole, and he's in there. Gets a kick a little bit to the right-hand side, and now Modlin, I don't believe, needs to airmail here. He's likely just going to slide down the center. And
it is on the patch side.
Is the question.
It is on the patch side.
Decision time for Frank Modlin. Ruder, he's now up 15. I mean, now he's down 15-6. It gets up to 6 points. Got to be an impressive showing, and the Germans got to be happy so far what they've seen from Felix.
Absolutely, absolutely. You also hear the crowd; they really start to get into this game. They really start to get into this of their player here. His breakout tournament was the German Open earlier this year, where he performed really well. And he hit the highest PPR of any player that weekend.
Incredible, and he's staying down the center here. The question will be, can he grab that bag on that left-hand side? He is stepping out. Don't know if I see slick side.
He hits it.
He gets the collect.
Good shot, Felix.
What a bag by the German. And now Frank Modlin trying to do the same and match it. And he does.
Yes, he does.
Back-to-back shots there by von Ruder, and Modlin showing off the international skills.
As Bernie Neighbors would say, that's professional cornhole.
That is professional cornhole indeed. And a solid point towards the hole there for von Ruder.
I think for the first time on a broadcast, Felix is really doing a great job.
Yes, he's dialed in right now.
That's to the left.
Down big early in this match. So many would have just caved in. This could be in for a win. It's not. It knocks one in. It is going to be 2 points for Frank Modlin. Modlin had an opportunity there to go in for the win. Instead, he'll just settle for 2. He's now up 17-6. 4 points away from getting a 1-game lead for the Americans in this first semifinal.
Is it any different, Trey? You must be a little bit biased seeing the American team play here. Well, or does that not do anything with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, look, I've seen a lot of these players play a lot of times, and really, I think my goal personally, or my hope here, was for this game to be competitive.
Yeah.
And I've been really impressed with von Ruder so far in this game, keeping it close against one of the best players in the world.
Wow.
Frank Modlin showing off why he's the most decorated USA cornhole player of all time. And if you're looking for great American cornhole, that is an airmail drags, what he's made such an incredible career off of. The slow-mo up and then down.
Wow.
To get both bags in such an impressive bag there. And yeah, I root for big shots in close games, right,
Oh,
Tone?
there you go.
Cannot do it. Frank Modlin takes down Felix von Ruder, and the USA goes up 1-0 in this head-to-head matchup. And Stacy, Frank Modlin did what Frank Modlin did, but I think the Germans had a really good showing that first match.
Fantastic showing. Hit some great shots. That one drag that he hit was incredible. That was a professional cornhole shot. He just has to keep on working, and he'll be more competitive against Frank the next time out.
He gets a standing ovation from his German fans and friends. But Frank Modlin going to get the win, and the USA are up 1-0. Up next, we have the second game of this three-game series between the USA and Germany. Don't go anywhere. More action live from Paris right after this.
From Germany.
Welcome back, cornhole fans across the globe. We are here in Stade Charletti, here in Paris, France, for the 2023 ACL Europe Open, the culmination of the European Open Series. Brings us to this championship event. It's really not only marks the end of the European Series, but really the end of the entire ACL play for the season. The month of September will be a nice break for everyone to reset before the 2023-2024 season begins in October. I am Trey Ryder, joined by Tone DeVries and ACL Commissioner Stacy Moore, bringing you some of this action. We just saw Frank Modlin give the United States a one-game lead in this best of three series. And next up, you are going to see the #1 player in the world has made the trip over to Europe. Tony Smith on the right, looking to give the USA a win, an overall win. We will play all three games in this match no matter what, but he can secure the victory here in this semifinal against Germany. He will take on Renee Schindler, player who has been kind of one of the original players of the European Cornhole Series, Tone. And,
absolutely.
And what has Renee meant to not only the folks in Germany that are getting more into the game, but all of the European players across Europe that are getting into the game?
I mean, he's been such an ambassador for the last years to grow the sport across Europe. If you think about it, he is the first ACL pro in Germany, and nobody's going to take that away from him anymore.
That title cannot be taken away. He does give up a 6-point round here to Tony Smith, something Tony is a lot of players across the United States all year this year. Finishes the year as the #1 player in ACL Pro Singles standings. Finished third at the World Champions standings. ACL MVP. Finished as the #2 team in the world in doubles alongside Jacob Trzynski. Had an incredible year there. So except for winning the World Championship, Tony Smith had just about as good of a season as you can possibly have in the States.
He can finish it up in style. But potentially the WCO World Cup for the USA.
Yeah,
after
finishing it up
tonight.
with a World Cup would certainly be the cherry on the top to the season. Smith thinking about what he wants to do here, whether it's a push or an airmail. I like a push here. He is going up, though, and he's deep off the back. That's going to leave Schindler an opportunity to board it for a wash, and that's what he does.
So you just mentioned, Trey, that it was René's dream to play Frank Modlin, of course. But if you're not playing Frank Modlin, then you play Tony Smith. I mean, can be worse, right?
It's an experience, right? And playing against the best in the world is always going to, foster better play from everyone, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
This is how a lot of these European players get better, is playing
Absolutely.
on the biggest stage that they can, playing against the best in the world. And when you start seeing Tony Smith hit airmails like that, it really motivates players to get better and practice the shots in order to be a master class of a shot maker like Tony Smith.
Yeah, and we need this competitive cornhole here in Europe for these players to get better. So that's why it's so important that also the US players come over to Europe. And I mean, we can't thank them enough for making the trip and growing the sport here with us in Europe.
Tony Smith, 2 straight airmails. Can he make it a third? He's up again, and he's down for another airmail. 10-point round showing +8. It's going to be +7 in a huge round for Tony Smith. He's at a 7 round. He's at a 6 round. He's flexing his muscles. He knows that he's going to have the biggest target on his back, and right now he's got no problem with it as the #1 player in the world, out to a 13-0 lead.
I'm sure after this match, the first thing he's going to say is, I shouldn't have missed that first airmail.
High standards from the top player in Tony Smith, a breakout season this year.
And where Felix was shining in the spotlight, I think René is struggling a little bit with it today.
Yeah, he was aggressive right there on the airmail. Not something we normally see. René Schindler plays a little bit more of a conservative game, but certainly trying to get back into it here. Another bag off to that right-hand side. Tony Smith going up. He goes for an airmail drag, does not. Goes for an airmail drag. And that's exactly what happened. It's going to be 3 points for Tony Smith now.
16.
Yeah, René's got to relax a little bit. Take his time. He can do better than this.
I think Tony thinks the broadcast rules do not apply here in Europe. I see his footwear choice. He would be...
I think he told me that's all he brought.
That's not surprising. At least we got a jersey for him.
Tony Smith having a good time. Him, Hunter Thorne, Trey Birchfield all made the trip together alongside Mike Hennessy, the owner of Lucky Bags. So they've been... And then after this, they're going to go and do some vacationing around Europe. And they're going to check out Rome. And that bag way off to the left-hand side now means a 4-bagger wins it. Last bag in for Tony Smith will clinch the victory. He is going to give the USA an overall victory in that semifinal. And he gives them a 2-0 win. We will play the third match to give everybody some time on the broadcast court. But a big win, and I think Schindler may be a little bit disappointed by the performance, Tom.
I think so too. He has played better matches on the broadcast court already. Yesterday he played a lot better, and also last year he was one of the best performers. He was maybe just a little bit too humble playing against Tony Smith here tonight.
He can be tough to play against. Tony Smith gets the big win, but we are just getting started here in Paris. We'll be open the third and final game of this first match between USA and Germany up next. event of the season brings us here to Stade Charletti. I'm Trey Ryder, joined alongside Tone DeVries and Stacy Moore, bringing you more live action of USA versus Germany. USA has clinched the overall match up 2-0. We will play this third match to showcase some of the skills of all the players here. For Team USA, some familiar faces. If you've been following American Cornhole, you have Trey Birchfield versus Hunter Thorne. On the opposite side of the boards, you have Guni Reitz alongside Thomas Schwartz. So this is going to be another interesting showcase to see which versions of each team we get. And out of the gate, Reitz had an opportunity there, Tone. Trey Birchfield had to come in with a big push, but it looks like it is going to be a single point in the direction of the Americans, 1-0.
I have to say, Trey, 2 more days and your pronunciation is going to be perfect.
I'm getting there.
Yes.
I'm getting there. The problem is I'll do that and I'll go all the way home and I'll forget it all for next year. I'll be like, Gunny Reitz of next year when I get back? Yeah, I know. I'm saying when I get back next year, I'm going to forget it.
You're doing way better than I did last year, Trey. So it was a very low bar, as we said yesterday.
I spent so much homework not studying player bios and information and backstories like I should have. I just
there you go.
Out here grinding away. The Germans have their first lead, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Their first lead of this series.
Trey is asking the Germans to not do that. I guess he's not very used to this, right?
He's not used to people pulling against him.
A little bit of support. Trey Birchfield getting aggressive out of the gate. He goes for an airmail.
Bounces
off. A little
off.
bit short.
Guni has a completely different style than you might be used to in the US, I think, Trey?
Oh, yes. Very standstill. Feet side by side, going after trying to get that bag. Not able to do it, but again,
should not be underestimated. They were in the top 5 both of the European standings before the Paris Open.
Nice first bag.
First bag in by Thorne. I don't know what Reynolds bag. This is Lucky Bags Pro Snipers for Team USA with Thorne and Birchfield. Obviously Reynolds bags on the other end, but Schwartz is throwing slick side down, so I can't really tell exactly what type of Reynolds bag that is. Oh, a big push opportunity, and they all bunch for Hunter Thorne. Wow. That was an opportunity to take the lead for Hunter Thorne. Watch him here. They just all bunch up. They just sit right there. Incredible.
I think Guni is off to a great start in this match. He seems locked in, like Felix did in his first match. Oh, and when I say that.
Ooh, Trey Birchfield goes up. Looks like that actually may be a typhoon. I don't know, tough to tell. Trying to see that logo. This is going to be an airmail by Trey Birchfield, and he gets 2 for 1. We're going to be 2 more points for the Germans. It's 5-1.
5-1 Germany.
So Trey, we see Thomas playing left-handed, obviously. Is there any particular advantages for left-handed players?
I don't think there's any advantage per se. It really just about stylistically how people match up. And if you're not paying attention, and this is very much so when we talk about the way players are playing in the States, if you're not paying attention to how a player's bag will naturally cut left or right and how it will drift up the board, you can fall behind. So naturally, if I'm throwing a cut as a right-handed player, my bag is going to go right to left as a big airmail there. It's going to be another point for the Germans. If I'm a right-handed player, I naturally throw right to left, right? So I need to make sure that when I lay my blocks, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
A beautiful block behind by Reitz, and now this is going to be an airmail time for Trey Birchfield. clean, straight through. Wrights goes for one. That bag got brought closer. This is an airmail drag opportunity for Trey Birchfield. He hits it.
Yeah.
Now this is an airmail that can go clean for 9. He's stepping out to get a better angle. He's up, and he is down.
Wow, a big round.
And that's why Trey Birchfield is a former world champion in singles. 3 big airmails, the second one for a drag. And now the Americans take a 10-6 lead with that big 9-point round.
I'm glad he decided to
lead with that big 9. He
big shots
woke up there with a big round. And what I'm going to be interested to see, Ton, is how Wrights handles that after beginning a big spot, because we were just talking about how well he had started that game.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, that can really snowball on you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's all about consistency, I think, because our European players can play very well, hit pretty decent PPRs, but can they continue to do that and sweep out those bad rounds that they can have every now and then.
Bag hanging on the right side for Wrights. Tries to push through it, but ends up on that right-hand side.
Still haven't been able to see which bag it is that they're throwing, huh? It's always I've been looking for 3 or 4 rounds.
It's very
now.
small font. Like I said, I can't. It might be a typhoon, but I can't tell for sure. Could be a fracture as well. Just throwing slick side there, but we do
Birchfield goes 9, backs it up with a 6-point round.
Big 6 spot there. Watch this again. Beautiful shot there from Trey Birchfield. And Schwartz blocks the lane of Hunter Thorne. He does power right through it.
Yes.
Schwartz looking like he's going to score points here. Can Thorne get that bag sitting in the center? He cannot. Right back the other way. Schwartz gets it.
Great round.
All of a sudden, this is a bag game, folks. 18-12. Thorne and Birchfield giving up double digits here to the Germans.
You may have not talked enough about Thomas. He is a pretty quiet player, but he is actually getting better every year, and I think he's performing here very well. He's calm, does not give up a lot of points, and then there was his big round, getting those 6 points.
Getting those 6 points right back, and now Trey Birchfield is excited because there's an opportunity to win this right here.
You could see it in his face, eh?
Wrights chooses not to go after it with an airmail. This is in for the win, and it's just on that left-hand side. Just on that left-hand side, and it's only going to be 2 points, makes it 20-12.
I think Trey wanted more TV time.
Schwartz has been solid on this end, just got a 6. Now that bag is pretty much pushed out of the way. This may be an opportunity on the last bag for Hunter Thorne to maybe go with an airmail to drag. Will he do it, or will he just stay down the center with a slide? He's going up, and he gets the drag.
Wow. Thomas is looking at him.
Schwartz is going to have to do the same. He can't do it, and that's a game-winning airmail drag for Hunter Thorne and Team USA. All right, welcome back, fans everywhere, to Paris, France, the WCO World Cup final. Here we're going through our semifinals and then our final match. Next up, after we've just seen the USA take down Germany, we have France versus Canada. This is going to be a fun one. The Canadians certainly have boasted the second best teams in the past as far as overall talent goes, and their two ACL pros on this roster. They're certainly going to add some talent and add some depth, but they're going to be going tone against depth that in Europe on paper is probably the most talented. Headlined here by a player that I think you've said in the past you think is the best player in Europe right now, in Mathieu Rivaux.
For sure. I think this is, in all honesty, this is the best we have to offer at the moment within Europe. And that's why I'm so excited about this match. Because I really want them to show off in this matchup. And not just being maybe the best country in Europe, but this is their home turf. They're playing right here in Paris. I mean, can it get any better for them?
Yes, they are certainly excited to be here in Paris, playing in their home country. And although playing against the Americans, you want to play really well, right?
Of course.
You want to give them the best run. But I think realistically, if they walked out of this World Cup with a silver by beating those in the semifinals, that's a party all the way home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they won't sleep tonight. That's,
they will not sleep tonight if they're able to get that victory. That is for sure.
But Trey, in all honesty, these players are having so much fun this weekend here. There are a lot of players that are not getting a lot of sleep this weekend. Has been a lot of fun.
They're certainly having their fun, and the French have come out and they are excited to compete in front of their hometown fans.
You see the flags in the stands, the Canadian flag, the French flag.
And in this first matchup, Mathieu Rivaux is going to be playing against Brandon the Donkey Brown.
Donkey guaranteed an overall cup victory for Canada.
He guaranteed it, that's right.
He guaranteed it
even in the finals, he's going to beat Tony Smith. That's what he told us.
That's what he said,
so
yep.
He wants to go to that finals match against Tony Smith.
Well, first they have to beat France, step one, and that's going to be difficult enough.
I like the confidence and the passion. I think his chances are fairly slim.
And this is strength against strength for both teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rivaux for France is, like we said, arguably their best player, right? And same goes for Brandon Brown. Rivaux, I'm not sure. That was kind of in between. He may have rushed it just a little bit. I wasn't sure if he was going to go airmail or block behind it.
4-0.
Bit of a slow starter, Mathieu, in games. We've seen that before. We made Mathieu in 14-0 behind Justin Stranger. Then he got back 21-14. We see that happen a lot with him, but once he's locked in, once he's in the zone, he can play really well.
Brandon Brown, on the other hand, one of the, for the past 2 years, been one of, if not the best player in Canada. He's been so consistent and gotten so much better in this year as well, this past season. Really playing his best cornhole in the second half of the season. And certainly uses a high level of energy to get some wins. Rivaux, though, I think it's going to benefit him that he doesn't speak a lot of English. Because Brandon is as good as you can.